How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to, frankly, a surprise video. I didn't really think that I was going to record this until just about 10 minutes ago, so bear with me. But last video I mentioned that Thayer birding software has been releasing free downloads of their software, and I didn't really go much into it. I dropped a link and all that, and so anybody who wanted to could go download it if they wanted. But I kind of wanted to go through some of the ins and outs so that, if you have just downloaded it, you can see some of the cool tools that you can use with Thayer birding software. Or if you're debating whether or not you want to download it, I don't see why you wouldn't, because it's free right now. But, everybody's kind of got their own options and all that, so own decisions to make. So if you're kind of debating it right now, this can kind of give you a glimpse into what potentially you can use Thayer birding software for. So as you can see, I have the software open up already. And one thing that's important to note is that it is a desktop software. It's not a website, not like eBird or anything like that. So once you download this, it's on your computer. You throw up a quick hyperlink to it, and you click that icon just like you would, if you download a game or Microsoft Word or anything like that. So it is a desktop software, and it's not like an external link or anything, which I find really enjoyable because you don't have to have Wi-Fi access. So if you're in the car or something like that, driving somewhere, and let's say you don't have Wi-Fi for some reason, you can still pull this up, and it's super nice. The way I like to describe Thayer to people when I talk to them about it for the first time is it's kind of like a field guide, an interactive field guide that you have on your computer. So it's going to have all the main components of a field guide that you can find, with the added bonus of external stuff that you can do and other identification tactics that you can describe, because you're not restricted to paper. You're not restricted to a book. And so I'll go through some of the stuff. But so this is the page that opens up to when I open up Thayer, just because the last bird that I looked up was great horned owl. So I'll kind of use it as like a navigational tool. But first of all, to search for any bird that you want, you have right here, you have this bar right here. So that's going to be how we're going to search for whatever we want to pull up. So let's say I want to search about cerulean warbler. So it'll come up with auto choices based on what you're typing, which is nice if you're not totally sure how to spell something. So here we have our cerulean warbler page, kind of like, you can imagine this being like a page in either your Nat Geo book or your Sibley or your Kaufman's or whatever field guide you use. And as we scroll down, obviously we've got some pictures here, and we have kind of our identification tactics. These are super nice. It's kind of like what you'd expect from any other field guide. So nothing super in-depth, just the nice basics. I do like that, just like any other book, it delineates in between what we're looking at between different, some species have alternate plumages for some. The male's looking different, like we see with the cerulean warbler, male and female. So that's super nice that they kind of break it down really easily, and that they give like glimpses into a bunch of different things that you can use to kind of look at. It's also really nice that they give a mnemonic for the calls that the birds make, which a mnemonic is basically a mnemonic is kind of when we put a bird's call into words. So like, for example, the easiest one I can think of is barred owl. So if we pull up barred owl, the mnemonic that we use for barred owl is who cooks for you all. So when you hear that call, you kind of imagine those words in your head. And actually, one thing that's nice about Thayer is that you can play sounds. So, for example, if I play this, and you can kind of hear that, who cooks for you all, that it was kind of describing. It just sounds like it, and it's a great way if you're trying to parse out different bird calls, because if you get something that's super recognizable like that, well, you've got a barred owl, because quite frankly, there's really nothing else that kind of sounds like that. And so that's a super easy way. It's another great tool that Thayer has as well. It'll give you, like I said, your sounds, your habitats, where you'll find stuff. It gives you range maps, videos, and abundance maps, which are really nice because those aren't really a common thing. A bunch of additional photos of all different ways you can see the bird, almost like reminiscent of a Crossley guide or something like that. So this is kind of the individual bird page. It's pretty simple, easy to navigate, easily navigatable. And then one thing that I like about Thayer is that you get a couple of these tabs up here. From this, you can print the species thing. I've never done that because I really needed to. I'm not going to go into the Birder's Handbook much because it's still something that I'm not totally in the clear of. But this one right here is one of my favorite tabs, and this is a compare tab. So let's say it's going to give you a side-by-side, basically. And you can search, let's see how about Bonaparte skull and laughing gull. Let's say you're kind of trying to figure out and look between two different birds that are pretty similar. Easy way to do that, if you're looking at it, you can pull up the left and the right. You can choose different photos. So let's say we saw one in flight versus breeding in flight. So yeah, you can pull up these side-by-sides, and it gives really, really good comparisons into species that look otherwise really similar, especially if you're trying to learn the difference between the two for the first time. Obviously, one of the easiest ways we can tell with a breeding Bonaparte's gull versus a laughing gull, aside from just the general proportions, because this is a much daintier kind of beak than we have with the laughing gull. It's the color of the legs. So it makes it really easy if you're ever out birding, and if you're able to kind of pull this up, not when you're birding obviously, but after the fact, if you're a little confused with pictures that you saw, or even prepping for a birding trip, knowing what is differing between two species, and this is a great tab in order to how to learn a lot of those key differences. So legs out of that, it opens up a new tab, so it's super easy. Then over here, you got your individual species profile, and then if you hit this one right here, it's actually going to pull up species that would be similar to it, which is super nice, especially, like I said, if you're trying to parse out potential species that are similar that you want to make sure you can identify between. So that's a cool thing, and then from there you get links to each of them. And then this last one here, it'll show related species, so taxonomically stuff that's related to them. So that's all kind of cool, and it'll just give you pictures, and you can, like I said, you can go. So if you're trying to explore, learn more about owls in general, this is a great tool right here. Now for the rest of it, that's our field guide thing right there. The ID wizard is another thing that I really enjoy. And basically, if you've used Merlin Bird app, it's kind of like that when you don't have a picture. It's the same kind of thing. So let's say I saw a bird that I didn't know in Illinois. So I'm going to click Illinois, and then I'm going to go into the size. Basically what I'm doing is almost like, I don't want to say it's like a dichotomous key because it's really not. But basically what you're doing is you're choosing the things that apply to the bird that you saw that you didn't know, in order to, it'll give you a most likely what it's supposed to be. So here's our results so far with all the stuff that we've clicked. So not ocean shore, not in Illinois. So lake, streams, and wetlands. Then we'll go to color. Let's say it was black and white. I'm already thinking of Canada goose is what I'm going to use. Field marks. With a goose, I'm not even sure. A group, I don't know. For a sound, let's go with a say a gook would be like a squawk, a quack, or a squawk. And so yeah, so for the state of Illinois, these are going to be the potential things that what we get. Okay, I didn't really. Are the size of goose and larger than goose that include the color black and white to have quack or squawk sounds? Okay, so I didn't pull up goose, but I didn't really think I was looking for goose in the first place until. Yeah, I think I just didn't get the right sound for it. So, honk. There you go, Canada goose. Okay, so as long as you put in the right stuff, it'll give you a bunch of good choices, and from there you can look in and say, oh, this is the bird I was looking at. So that's super nice. Super nice little tool. Then the last thing I'm going to go through is the lists and the quizzes, because those are my favorite part of Thayer. A lot of the times that I use Thayer, I use it in conjunction with eBird. So, for example, just the other day, or last year is mainly when I was doing this, but in Springbrook Prairie, for example, I live right there, and I'd see a bunch of people's lists come up with a bunch of species that I wasn't aware of. And so what I would do, in order to kind of study up on the birds that I could see in my area and learn how to identify them for myself rather than kind of have someone hand feed it for me, I'd make these lists based on the list that what people were reporting, and then I'd go through, because you can do quizzes based on the list that you created. So to make a list is really easy. You go to your custom lists, and as you can see, I've got a bunch of different lists already, as well as Thayer also has a bunch of preloaded lists, which is super nice as well. So we'll hit new list, and let's name it YouTube list. And that author's going to be me. So now we have there, and then for contents, all we're going to do is we're going to type in the bird. Let's go Canada goose. We'll click add. Now it's in our list. And then mallard, sure, that works. We'll click add. Now it's in our list. So this is our list that we have right now. You don't have to hit anything to save. It's already saved. In order to delete one, you're just going to hit that X. And to highlight it, you can either click on it or you can do that little thing right there. So it's got the thing. And then we're going to come into this quizzes tab right here. So quizzes you can do on a bunch of different things. This tab is just favorite quizzes from all of Thayer, which are super. A lot of them are really, really fun. It's fun to just kind of go in and sometimes figure out what you know and what you don't know, because then you can go up and study what you don't know. Locations is really nice because you can go find what birds are expected to be in your area and quiz yourself based on those birds. Bird groups, I don't use this one much, but it's helpful in certain ways. Custom lists, these are going to be all the lists that you've made, and then my quizzes is just not really special at all. So if we want to open up the list that I made, we'll click that one to run the quiz. We'll hit next, and then you can choose what kind of format you would like. I usually do fill in the blank to make sure that I type it correctly. That's what we had to do for ornithology class as well. But for this, we'll just do multiple choice. And then you have, for the answer options, you can choose all these different settings. And the one that I really usually point out is that based on, you can choose whether you want to just see a picture for your answer options, or when you're trying to identify the bird, you can do picture correlating with sound. Or what we did for songbirds in class is that you can do just by sound. That was super fun because it really helps you learn how to bird by ear. I know a lot of the times you're not going to see the bird that you're looking for, but it's always nice to be able to pick out what you're hearing in the environment so that you can still report stuff based on just what you hear. And this is my favorite tool, really the best tool that I've ever used in order to learn how to bird by ear. It's great, just repetition, learning, just drilling. That's what I do a lot. But we'll go with picture and sound. So next, this stuff, just make sure that you're shuffled. Don't really play with any of this stuff. Then we'll hit run quiz. Basically, it's going to pull up right here. As you can hear, it has the sound. We'll stop playing that. That's a Canada goose.
Yes, that's correct.
That's correct. Let's say I get this one wrong. I think, oh, that's a wood duck. I'm going to hit answer.
Sorry, that's
It's going to tell me no. So it gives you your score, what you've done. You can put in your Hall of Fame. I never really do that. The quiz is now finished. You can review. So let's say right here, I got this one right, but it'll also tell me which one was right from here when I got it wrong. So that's super nice. Let's stop. So those are the main tools that I use for Thayer. I want to keep this video short because, frankly, I'm tired and I don't feel like making you guys go through too much. I just wanted to give you guys some of the stuff that I use when I'm looking through Thayer. Like I said, I'll put another link in the description just to kind of link to their website so you can get the free code for download. The code is on their website, so I don't need to link that or anything. That's really about it. That's all I've got for you guys. I want to thank you again for watching. I hope you guys are staying happy. I hope you guys are staying healthy. I know quarantine is hard, but we're all doing our part. So stay happy, stay healthy, and happy birding, everybody.